getting to be the, you know, a big thing. You know, that's not just for female creators, it's for every creator, because you can find the most amazing books out there that Marvel is not putting out, DC is not putting out, Dark Horse is not putting out, any of the bigger companies aren't putting out, because they self-publish or they put it online. And a lot of those female creators now are getting exposure that way, and some of the, you know, great finds out there for women creators, and they're not all ages books. Everybody assumes that women write all ages, kid-friendly titles, and I know I fall into that category because I do kid-friendly stuff. I do Star Wars kids comics, I do stuff for Fraggle Rock, and you know, my webcomic is all ages. But I also write a book about a cat that sits in a box and swears at things. Funniest book ever. Yeah. You know, it's not restrictive. And it's things like that that all of a sudden all of these female creators are breaking out of this mold that they think they need to be in and just putting themselves out there on the line. And seriously, go walk around Small Press and Artist Alley at this show. You're going to find the most amazing women creators.
That's awesome.
I'm very committed.
Well, Mary, next we have Mary Franklin, and one thing I have to say, when I started working on the Clone Wars, I was so amazed at not only the amount of female fans, but the amount of amazing, intelligent women that worked behind the scenes, and all of these women up here that work behind the scenes. I mean, Erika talked about creating shows for Sci-Fi and what she would want, and we're shaping the things that everybody watches and what the guys love. And there's some powerful women behind the scenes making it happen, and Mary Franklin is one of them. Mary, when you and I chatted, you really felt passionate about the role that the fans play in the events that you do. So can you just elaborate a little bit about that? Not even necessarily male, like it doesn't have to be just about women, but about the role that fans play in the events that you put on.
Yes, certainly. Okay, the role that fans play in events. So we're going to hold that thought, and I have to get 4 things off my chest first. First of all, usually I'm the person behind the scenes with the headset, and I'm not up front with such illustrious company of many people I admire so much, so right now I'm terrified. Number 2, I've got to thank Ashley for these awesome clothes, because these clothes rock. And number, oh, okay.
They like the clothes.
Yeah. And number 3, I forgot, so I'll get back. Okay. So the roles that fans play in events. When I started producing events for Lucasfilm, it was back in 2001. I went to work on Star Wars Celebration 2 in Indianapolis. That was my first job for Lucasfilm. When I first began, I thought of the events as in a more traditional way. Like, we are going to entertain all these tens of thousands of fans. We have to come up with all these things for them to do, you know, different exhibits and different stage entertainment, which of course we did and we still do. But when I started working on Celebration 2, there were some very passionate fans who were raising their hands and saying, and this is men and women both, who were raising their hands and saying, I can do this, and I can add this to the programming. And they had wonderful ideas, and they started, you know, we programmed them in for Celebration 2, you know, to a smaller degree, but every celebration and every Star Wars event that I've worked on since, fans have had a larger and larger role. They have not just, the show's not just for them. They have become, in a large part, the show itself. With their creativity, their ideas, their drive, their passion for the IP, and it's been wonderful to sit back and see all these creative people. You give them a stage and they go, and like, you know, this is men and women both. It's one of the things I love about my job, is to work with a fan community that is so passionate and so creative and so willing to give. There are so many very, very generous people in Star Wars fandom, and it's been an honor to give them a stage to create upon.
one more question, because when I look out here on the floor and I look in the aisles, I see women everywhere. To me, it almost seems like it's 50-50. Have you seen an increase in women attending fan events and conventions over the years since you've been at Lucasfilm?
Yeah, I have. I mean, there always have been a good number of women, but I would say that, yeah, since the last 10 years, since I've been doing it, there are more women. And there are, I think the defining thing is there are far more women who are not here to carry their boyfriend's bags. They may have been there before, but they were kind of going along. But there are far more women who are here because they love it, and they want to get in the panels, and they want to be part of the show, and they want to, they want to see the new things, and they want to do the shopping, and all those. So there's, yeah, a lot more
and
women
they just
involved.
want equal treatment, right?
Okay.
All right, well, Kat, when we chatted, I thought this was really funny because you told me how people see your art and they see you and they don't expect you to be a woman. They expect a guy. So tell us a little bit about that experience.
I blame Cat Stevens. The only man with that name that I know of who doesn't even have that name anymore. No, honestly, one of the first shows I did, a fellow artist and man came up to me and he goes, wow, he goes, I didn't expect to see you. I saw your artwork and I thought you were a guy. You draw really, really well. Thank you. Right? Thank you, I think. Is that good? So yeah, I used to get that a lot too. I used to do airbrush work. And airbrush is very much a boys' club. So I would come out of the back room of the store that I did the marketing stuff for. Yes, I did. And they would always be shocked that a woman was walking out of the back room. They're like, "Oh, you painted that?" You know, because so it's followed me my whole career. Yeah, and I don't know. I guess it's because I don't put flowers on everything. I don't know what they're expecting. You know, but yeah, I draw. My major influences are people like Norman Rockwell and Linebecker and all of the illustrators from the 50s, and 30s, and 40s. And so it's like, that's always the kind of illustration I followed. So yeah, I didn't necessarily, start out going, I'm going to draw like a man. That's just how I draw. So.
Well, I think I have to tell you, and Katie, your shirt says Daddy's Little Girl, so we haven't had too many guys come up and say that they're jealous for that shirt. But, Kat, the little girls, though, have been going nuts over it. So, I knew Katie could just do such a perfect job for that shirt. But, Kat's shirt, I think the biggest compliment is so many guys out there have been coming up saying that they're jealous of our designs. And I said, it's about time. You know how many years you've been jealous of your designs?
That's right. I gotta say, I gotta follow Mary's lead. I have to thank you for doing this because it is about time. I've been running cons for a long time, and I'm so glad I don't have to buy the big box shirt anymore, that I can get a shirt that fits and it's not pink.
And I love pink, but there's no pink in our first collection because I figured we had enough pink to last us a lifetime. Now, Bonnie, when we chat, we always have good conversations. We can chat for quite a while, but we talk about how girls can talk, like we said, we're very communicative. But we talked about fangirls and fanboys, and is there a difference between fangirls and fanboys?
Well, there's a big difference, but or little, depending. The thing is, Twitter's still very new, social media. It's been around for a couple of years, but people are still discovering it. And when we started the Star Wars Twitter, it was originally going to just be for official news, that's just, official type things. And then I was like, well, this is boring. I mean, we've got great news and events, but there are a lot of Star Wars fans on Twitter that are like, hey, check out my cool tattoo. Hey, I just did this wedding tape. Hey, my cat looks like a Wookiee. Check it out. So, I mean, I dare you to go on Twitter and just do a search on the Star Wars hashtag, and you will be entertained for hours and hours and hours. And so I made a point to retweet, which means to just copy a tweet of what someone else tweeted on Twitter. Say that real fast. And try to show that we actually are paying attention to what our fans do online. There are a lot of times that leads to me interviewing them on the official blog, especially if it's like, you know, something that they're doing for charity or it's something that they did that took a long time. You may remember the Millennium